So we're going to work on a push weight thing today. We're going to work on some timing. Um, on step one, that ball should go out and down a hair. Okay. So that's close. I'd want it coming down just a hair more, the center of the ball, just instead of being there about here. So you would think a little bit more down below the waist, same setup. Okay. Um, we're going to try to get rid of the out motion on step two. You're still going out in step two quite a bit. Okay. The more you go out into, the later you are, and that's also why that step is really big. Okay. We would want that ball more to be here on two. Okay, so you got to feel like it's just super small push away. You can do a lot of the stuff at home with the mirror. Do it with the ball, the mirror to your left, just on step one. Ball should go out and down, so the center of the ball is more on belt level. But then when your right foot goes forward, have your left arm come backward. You are so used to that little push on one, but then when your right foot goes forward, you go out with your left. Okay? And we'll kind of see that here. Your left arm is going out with your right foot. Okay? We want the left and left to go together. So you kind of carry it a little bit at the start. So your foot's moving, but you're not moving your ball until your heel hits. So to trick your brain into doing that better, you would think more down to the waist on one. When you think down to the waist on one, your body thinks, well, if you want it down to the waist, I can't carry it because it has to move. Okay? We're going to think about a shorter push so you don't go out as much on the next step. Okay? So on step two, when the ball's in front of the body, you're late. That's going to cause a lower ball speed, probably more early turn, a lot of stuff you don't like. Okay? So we definitely want the ball at least under your shoulder, ideally kind of right by that back leg. Okay? If we look at a different shot, it's probably going to look the same. Yep. So you're going out for that second set. Okay? So we can definitely work on that. So then you're not done with the backswing on step three. You should be complete with your backswing on three. You're not done with the backswing until you're going into your slide. And that's why you don't have a lot of backswing. You don't have time. Okay? Because then your foot stops and you come through. So you end up in time. And your finish is good, which is going to get you there differently. Okay? So ideally, we want that ball going out and down on one, down and back on two. Okay? Just show you another comparison here. Just as kind of an example. Okay, so same basic setup as you. Now she takes 5 steps, so she'll be pushing a 2, but notice it's out and down. And now on the next step, it's more down and back. So she gets the ball passing her shoulder. Your ball was in front of your whole body still. That's why her swing is higher. Same time at the end, the foot stops, the ball comes through. But the push rate is more compact. So we never want like locking out. A big push takes longer. Okay? So you push a hair late, but then you get late because your push rate's big. And you'll see with yours, it's just a little bit bigger motion. Okay? So we can work on that. Let's go to the back view with you now. So with the back view, you're pretty close in setup position. I don't see any big issues with that there. So be careful not to overcross on this step. Uh, you're almost overcrossing. See, the foot is going past the other foot. Okay, and even the outside of that foot is past the inside of that foot. And then that step gets in the way of this next step. And then let's say if you come back around. Okay. So you might have to feel like step one goes a hair left to not go as far right. And then I don't think You know, see how that like almost crosses in front? Well, if this step was here, that would look like it crossed in front. Okay. Yep. The same thing. That one kind of comes in, and then your slide goes to the right. Okay. So that makes that's a drift from start to finish. If I mark your foot where you finish, we go back to the setup position. So there's probably a 4 board difference. Okay. 20 is this dartboard. That's kind of where you ended up. This is where you're setting up. So if I put my marker here where you start, so you're going to the right about 3, 4 boards. Okay. And that could be making you miss your target. Okay. So if you want to end up at 20 to hit 10 and project it out to 6 steps, that's where you would have to end up. But that means you could start there. But you would have to feel, especially on your slide, you tend to slide to the right of the step before the slide. So the majority of your drift is there. Okay. And the more you go to the right at the end, you can throw your direction off. Okay. So we can kind of clean that up a little bit. So some people refer to the footwork that should be like a tightrope. I think that's kind of overdoing it. I think like walking on a 2x8 is good. Okay. And you can kind of see your first 3 steps are like you're trying to be on a tightrope. Okay. If I show you, let's look at Marshall Kent. Now he's not quite tightrope, but he's like walking on a 2x8. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So the first step of a 4 is called a crossover step. It doesn't. We don't really want it crossing over. It goes kind of in front. We're just trying to create space for the ball. Right. And the next step is just kind of straight. The next step is just kind of straight. Right. And then the slide comes back on about the same board as the step before the slide. Right. So compare that to yours. It's literally like you're trying to be on a tightrope on steps 1, 2, 3. Which just makes it harder to walk fluidly. Now, I've never walked on a tightrope, but I imagine you have to walk kind of carefully.
I have, and yes, you do.
Okay. Well, you're way more talented than I if you walked on a tightrope. But that's kind of like looks like what you're trying to do there. Now, it'd be hard to walk that fast on a tightrope, I would guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, push rate direction. Well, then just to stay kind of in front of your shoulder. You're still pushing just a little bit left. And we could have just a little bit more, kind of have the hip out of the way a little bit more even, have your head a little bit more over, just to have more spine tilt. If you get too straight here, you can't be under your head. Okay. And then that comes in a little bit. If you go around yourself, it comes into the backswing. Okay. And then it's harder to have the correct projection. Okay. Then your finish is excellent though. So kind of keep an eye on your alignment. I think you're in the habit of setting up almost too close to your target laterally, which causes the drift to the right. Okay.
So I have more room to move right.
In your setup, absolutely.
More to the right. Okay.
Yeah. Now that's one shot there. Let's just see where you slid. These are consecutive shots, by the way. I'm going to pull up here. So On the left, you slid about 2 more boards further to the right. This dartboard is 20. You are on 20 on the right. This dartboard is 20. You slid at 22 on the left. And that caused a miss on the lane further inside compared to this one over here. Right? So we see more of the gutter on the outside of this ball on the left than we do over here
Right.
because of where you slid.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. Start to pay attention. Where did you slide? Are you in the right spot? So some of your misses in could be because you're not in the right spot. You drifted more. You started the same on both, but you drifted 2 more boards on the one on the left.
Okay.
And then if you hit the same target, you would have a different angle, different break point. So you're either going to have a similar angle and miss your target, or hit your target but have a different angle if you slide a different spot.
Different spot laterally. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, because
Okay.
even though I can hit my target if I'm in a different spot, then that
Yeah.
changes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So you see, sliding in a different spot can make you feel like you're throwing it badly when you're not. All right. If we look at your swing on this next one here, so we could get you just your head a little bit more angle over. I think I showed you that last time too. I'm going to show you that again. Let's pull up Brad here. Let's make Brad left-handed. So his hip is more to the right, which causes the upper body to go more to the left. If you just leaned over more, you might fall over. But if your hip is more right, it counterweights your body being over. Okay. So then watch his push. It stays right under him. Okay. So it stays in tight under the shoulder. If your body is, and see, he still has that tilt. So in bowling, it looks like it swings next to people, but ideally it swings under them. But see, your body is a lot straighter.
It wants to be under my shoulder.
Yeah, exactly. You just don't have room. And luckily, our bodies are smart. They don't hit ourselves repeatedly with bowling balls. Okay. So you,
Yeah, most of the time.
yeah.
Sometimes.
So you can do that at home with a mirror. You can just set up how you normally do and think like, okay, how am I going to get that under my shoulder? If you move your hips more to the right, you create more space. It's like, oh, there we go. So I think sometimes you start with space, but then as you walk, you straighten up again. So you have to really feel like the ball swings back and forth under you, not so much next to you. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then same thing with a straighter push. When you go around yourself, then you come in the backswing. If the push rate is straighter, the backswing stays in line with the head.
Right behind my head. Okay.
Okay. And notice when his swing is almost shoulder high, we don't see his arm much. We see your arm because it's inside your body. And notice your ball crossed your body line, his did not.
It's almost right behind my back. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And that's because you went around coming back. So the swing coming in is a result that you went around from your push right down. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Hard to work on that. It's hard to feel that. That's why stuff at home with a mirror is awesome because you actually watch yourself and you see it as it happens. So you start to associate what you're doing with what it feels like. So many times on video, you look, it's like, that's not even close to what I felt. So it's hard to duplicate something that you don't know what it feels like. And then when you do it right, it feels wrong. With a mirror, you'll see what's right and what's wrong, no matter what you feel. Mirrors don't lie. Videos don't lie. Okay? All right. So we can work on that a little bit. Let's go to your hand motion and release. shots back up here at the bottom. So hand position there is good. That's kind of right where we want it. You maintain that going up actually pretty well. And there you can kind of see how your arm comes in
Right.
a little bit. Okay. On the downswing. Not terrible on hand position. You're on the top of the ball. Okay. And that's common when people are later, they're going to be more on the top and more around early. So you can see your fingers are on the top quarter, top fifth.
Yeah.
So you have less of the ball to rotate. Okay. But actually, hand position right there, you're still in the center, so that's not too bad. Okay. Nice and close to your ankle. What's that?
Would that be because it's later a little bit?
A little bit, I think. Yeah. Okay. Always picture your whole target line. Don't just think target. Think about the whole ball path you want. Okay. So if you're trying to project it, think about the arc you want. Like where do you want to hit the arrows? Where do you want your break point? That defines your angle through your target arrows. When people just look at the target, there is no angle. So then your body doesn't know where to slide to create the angle because you don't know what angle. Okay. And like, see this shot here, you slid right around 20, right on 20. But that one hit almost 15. Okay. So you had no angle. If anything, it's an angle from left to right almost. Okay. And sometimes you can go, no matter what the lane condition is, you can practice different types of shots. But for the majority of the time, you want to be kind of lined up to the pocket, so you're able to see ball motion. Okay, because when you're playing where the shot's not, you'll never hit the pocket, but you'll never see ball motion, which makes it hard to know if you're doing something good or bad. You know, because even when you started, you were playing too deep for what the lane is, and you know you don't want to practice like just whiffing the headpin all the time. You want to kind of practice what you want to do when you bowl in competition. So yes, if there's a certain shot, like some people don't like playing out close to the gutter, so yeah, you can practice that some once in a while, get used to it.
Right.
But generally speaking, unless you're trying to do something specific, you should always try to be lined up to the pocket. Okay. So then you can kind of see your ball motion if it's good or bad. Okay. If you're not lined up right, you're not going to have a ball motion. So then you can't see if your release is good or bad. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. All right. So I think some things are better, but bodies have certain habits they just like doing. And it's our job to teach our body to do what we want instead of doing what our body prefers. Okay? This is another release shot here. Yep. Now see, I like that one better, just because your thumb is out, the finger stayed in. The one before, everything came out more like the same time. Okay. And see, this was probably a better shot. You had a little bit better projection. And so you hit more of what you wanted to.
Right.
Okay. And that probably would have hit the pocket. The one before that would have gone high. Or missed that right. Okay. But we're going to work on that push rate because I think the push rate is still a little bit too big. And your body is just probably used to being laid on two. If we go back to last time we worked, the very first shot, let's just see where you were on step two. Yep, you're in front of you on two. So your body likes your ball in front of you on two. We have proof. We're going to try to get that ball back. I'm pretty sure we did some of those. But that's when I had you really exaggerate. Let's see this one here. So even that one, see if that's closer to your leg? Okay. The goal would be, short-term goal would be having more inches on your shoulder on that step. Okay. All right, let's stop recording here.